I found out 3 days before the wedding. 3. Damn. Days. My dress was already at the boutique, steamed and ready. The catering was confirmed. The DJ had my playlist. The venue deposit was non-refundable. And the man I was supposed to marry? He was King someone else. I didn't even find out the usual way, no lipstick on the collar, no suspicious texts. No. I found out from a phone call. From a stranger. Is this Emily Carter? A woman asked, her voice low and cautious. Yes, who's this? I think you need to know something about Tyler. The name dropped like a brick in my stomach. My fiancé. My college sweetheart. The man who said I was his forever. I've been seeing him for almost a year, she continued, voice cracking. I didn't know he was engaged. I swear. I just found out. I saw your wedding website. My friend sent it to me. I couldn't speak. I felt like my throat had closed up. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. But you need to know. You need to get out now. She hung up before I could say a word. I stood there in my kitchen, phone still pressed to my ear, staring at nothing. The world blurred around me. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. Hard. No air. No sound. Just pain. Was this real? Was this some sick prank? I called him. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. By the 4th try I was shaking. I grabbed my keys and drove. Not to his apartment, to his office. He worked late sometimes. Said he was grinding for our future. Bullsh*T. I walked in, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear the receptionist greeting me. I didn't respond. Just headed straight for his corner office. And there he was. Alone. On his computer. Looking normal. Emily? He stood up, confused. What's wrong? I stared at him. This man I was about to marry. This man I thought I knew. Who is she? I asked, voice trembling. He froze. That split-second pause? That was all the answer I needed. He didn't ask, what are you talking about? He didn't say, there's no one else. He just stood there. Silent. Guilty. Shattered. He opened his mouth like he was about to say something, but no words came out. His hands were trembling slightly, and I could see the panic rising in his eyes. That moment, those few seconds of silence confirmed everything. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. He had done something. Something unforgivable. I asked you a question, I said, my voice low, cold, almost unfamiliar to my own ears. Who is she? He rubbed his face, sighed, then sat back down like the weight of the truth was too much for him to carry standing up. Emily, it's not what you think. A bitter laugh escaped me. That's the line you're going with? Really? After everything we've planned? After everything we've built? He didn't look at me. He stared down at his desk like a scolded child. It was a mistake. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. I slammed my palm down on the desk so hard that a picture frame tipped over. Don't insult me with cliches, Tyler. 1 year. She said it's been going on for a year. That's not a mistake. That's a second life. He flinched. You don't understand. Things got hard between us. Don't you dare, I cut in sharply, blame this on me. Don't you dare twist this around like I pushed you into her arms. I was planning our future while you were out screwing someone behind my back. The office felt like it was spinning. Everything we had, the dates, the long talks, the shared dreams, the ring on my finger, all of it felt like a sick joke. My hands were clenched so tightly my nails were digging into my palms, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't cry. Not yet. The fury was holding the heartbreak at bay. Who is she, Tyler? I asked again, quieter this time. Tell me her name. He hesitated, then muttered, Rachel. Rachel. The name sliced through me like a blade. Not because I knew her, but because now she had a name. She wasn't just a faceless betrayal anymore. She was a real person, with a voice, with a story, with her hands all over what was supposed to be mine. I straightened up and nodded slowly. Okay. Emily, please let's talk about this. Don't do anything rash. We can fix this. That's when I laughed. Full, bitter, hysterical laughter. Fix this? Like it was a broken chair? Like he hadn't just obliterated the foundation of trust and loyalty we were supposed to stand on? I was going to be your wife, I said, my voice trembling. I loved you. I gave you everything. And you threw it away for, what? A thrill? An ego boost? He stood up, came around the desk, and tried to take my hand. I backed away like he was fire. Don't touch me, I said. Don't you ever King touch me again. He stopped. Something in his face broke then, maybe shame, maybe fear of losing me. But it was too late. Whatever he saw in my eyes, he knew it was over. I'll be out of the apartment tonight, I said. You can keep the venue. Marry Rachel for all I care. But don't you ever call me again. I turned and walked out, heart pounding, vision blurry, throat tight. I made it to the elevator before the first tear slipped down my cheek. And as those doors closed, I realized something terrifying. I still loved him. The next few hours were a blur. I don't remember driving home. I don't remember packing. I barely remember telling my maid of honor, Jenna, that the wedding was off. All I recall is the cold numbness that seeped into every part of my body, like I'd stepped into a glacier and couldn't get out. It wasn't just pain, it was paralysis. Emotional frostbite. My hands moved, my mouth spoke, but it was all mechanical. Automatic. Survival mode. I didn't sleep that night. I lay on the couch in Jenna's apartment, staring at the ceiling, watching the shadows shift as the hours dragged by. My engagement ring sat on the coffee table, glinting mockingly in the moonlight. That tiny stone, so full of promises and dreams, now felt like a lie cast in gold and diamond. I wanted to throw it. Smash it. But I couldn't bring myself to touch it again. Not yet. By morning, my phone had exploded with messages. Tyler had texted me 13 times, left 6 voicemails, and even emailed me. As if a goddamn email could undo betrayal. As if words on a screen could make me unhear what Rachel had told me. I didn't respond. I couldn't. I was afraid that if I read any of it, I'd cave. That I'd start to second-guess myself, start to rationalize, start to believe him. Because love is stupid like that. It makes you doubt your own pain. Jenna tried to get me to eat, but everything tasted like ash. She hovered gently, never pushing too hard, just their soft presence, warm blanket, steady heartbeat in a world that had flipped upside down. You don't have to decide anything today, she whispered. Just breathe. That's all you need to do. But I couldn't just breathe. Because breathing meant living, and living meant feeling, and feeling meant facing the reality that the man I was supposed to grow old with had been lying to me for months. Maybe longer. And not just lying, cheating. Sharing his body, his words, his time with another woman. While holding my hand, while making vows, while looking me in the eyes and promising forever. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. It was emotional treason. I trusted him with the most fragile parts of me, and he handled them like garbage. He desecrated something sacred. Something I thought we were building together. I kept replaying everything in my mind. The late nights at work. The sudden weekends away with the guys. The way he'd pulled back from intimacy the past few months, blaming stress, deadlines, cold weather, anything but the truth. I remembered the way he still kissed me in the morning. How he still held my hand at the movies. How he still laughed at my stupid impressions. How could someone be so convincing, so cruel, so calculated? It made me question everything. Was any of it real? Or was I just a safety net, the stable option, the one you marry when you're done playing? Was I a placeholder while he lived out some fantasy? Did he ever love me, or just the idea of me? The worst part was I missed him. Even after everything. I missed the sound of his laugh. I missed the way he made coffee exactly how I liked it. I missed the way his hand fit perfectly against the small of my back. Missing him felt like a betrayal of myself. But I couldn't stop it. That's the cruelest twist of infidelity, how it leaves you longing for the very person who broke you. I didn't cry until I was alone in the shower. And when it came, it wasn't graceful or quiet. It was violent. My knees buckled. I sank to the floor. Hot water rained down as I sobbed into my hands, chest heaving, body shaking. I screamed until my throat burned. Until I was empty. Then I got up, wrapped myself in a towel, looked in the mirror, and saw a stranger staring back. The mirror didn't lie. My eyes were red and swollen, rimmed with that sickly pink that screams heartbreak. My lips were dry, my skin pale, my expression hollow. But beneath the devastation there was something else. Something unfamiliar. A flicker of rage. A thread of dignity clawing its way up through the wreckage. I leaned in closer, staring into my own reflection, and whispered to the stranger looking back at me, "He doesn't get to ruin you." That became my mantra for the day. Every time the grief threatened to pull me under again, I repeated it like a lifeline. "He doesn't get to ruin you." I said it brushing my hair. I said it folding the dress I would never wear. I said it when I called the venue and told them the wedding was off. The woman on the phone was kind, too kind, which made it worse. She offered condolences like someone had died. And maybe someone had. The man I thought Tyler was, the life I thought we were building, it had all died. And I was the one left holding the ashes. By noon, the news had started to spread. Our friends. Our families. Jenna helped me draft a message to send to everyone invited to the wedding. I couldn't even bring myself to type the words. She took my phone and wrote it for me. "Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding has been canceled. Thank you for your love and support during this difficult time." Clean. Vague. Respectful. I hated every letter of it. People started calling. Texting. Flooding my inbox with messages of shock, sympathy, confusion. Everyone wanted to know what happened. I didn't owe them the details, but silence felt suffocating. I told a few close friends the truth. I could hear their gasps, their fury, their disgust. A couple of them offered to go key his car or post screenshots all over town. As tempting as that was, I just shook my head. I didn't want revenge. Not yet. I wanted peace. And maybe, eventually, clarity. But that clarity didn't come that day. Instead, what came was a knock on Jenna's door around 5 p.m. I knew before she opened it who it would be. I felt it in my spine. The way your body tenses right before a storm hits. She looked at me, questioning, and I just nodded. She opened the door, and there he was. Tyler. His hair was a mess. His eyes were red. He looked like hell, but I couldn't feel sorry for him. Not anymore. He stepped inside without asking, like he still had the right. Jenna looked at me again, and I said, "It's fine. I'll talk to him." She nodded and left us alone in the living room. He stood there for a long moment, not saying anything. I crossed my arms, waiting. Let him speak first. Let him squirm. "Emily," he finally said, "I messed up. I know I did. But please, please don't throw us away. We've been through too much. This doesn't have to be the end." I almost laughed again, but this time I didn't. I was too tired. Too raw. "You cheated on me for a year," I said flatly. "You lied to my face while planning a wedding with me. And now you want to stand here and beg me not to throw us away like I'm the one who ruined it." His face crumpled. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear to God I didn't. I got caught up. I didn't think it would go this far. But it meant nothing, Emily. I was always coming back to you." I took a step closer, looked him dead in the eyes. "You were never with me, Tyler. You were pretending. And now the mask slipped." He opened his mouth, but I held up my hand. "Don't. Just don't. You don't get to ask for forgiveness before I've even begun to heal." He tried to reach for me. I stepped back. "You need to leave," I said, voice low and cold. "And don't come back. Ever." And for the first time since all of this began, he listened. He left. And I finally felt the silence. Not empty. Not sad. Just still. In the days that followed, the world didn't stop spinning, though mine had collapsed. The sun rose. People went to work. Coffee shops buzzed. Traffic lights blinked like normal. But I walked through it all like a ghost. Existing in fragments. Breathing, yes. Functioning barely. But truly living? No. That version of me had died somewhere between Tyler's office and my first breakdown in the shower. I stayed at Jenna's. She made space for me, not just in her apartment, but in her life. She cleared drawers for my things, cleared her schedule for my meltdowns. She brought wine and silence when I needed numbness and fury when I needed fire. She cursed Tyler in every creative way possible. But she never once pushed me to move on or get over it. She knew. She understood the kind of wound this betrayal carved, slow, deep, and dirty. People kept calling, texting, checking in. Some with genuine concern. Others with thinly veiled curiosity. I ignored most of them. The idea of explaining everything over and over again was exhausting. What could I even say? My fiancé was cheating on me the whole time I was picking floral arrangements and debating seating charts? The shame was unbearable. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I believed him. Because I defended him. Because I didn't see it coming. And worse, because a small, broken part of me still loved him. I hated that. I hated myself for it. For missing someone who had stabbed me in the back with a smile on his face. I would lie awake at night reliving our memories. The first time he told me he loved me. The night he proposed under the stars with trembling hands. The weekend we painted our future living room and laughed until our clothes were speckled with blue. All of it tainted now. All of it stained. I didn't know how to separate the good from the grotesque. I didn't know how to mourn what was real when it had all been laced with lies. Then, 5 days after the collapse, Rachel messaged me. She found me on Instagram. I saw the notification and my heart dropped. I debated ignoring it, but my fingers had a mind of their own. I opened it. "Emily, I hope it's okay that I'm reaching out. I just wanted to say I'm truly sorry. If I had known about you, I would have ended things with Tyler the moment it started. I didn't know he was engaged until I saw the wedding post. I feel sick about it. I'm not asking for anything, I just needed you to know that you weren't the only one being lied to." I stared at the message for a long time. Reread it. Let it sink in. Somehow that made it worse. He hadn't just betrayed me. He'd manipulated both of us. Two women tangled in the same web, each thinking we were the only one. I didn't respond. Not because I hated her, I didn't. I couldn't. She was just another victim of his duplicity. But I had nothing to say. What could be said? We were both walking away from the same explosion, burned in different places. That night, I gathered every photo, every love letter, every ticket stub and card he'd ever given me. I laid them all out like evidence in a trial. And then, slowly, deliberately, I burned them. In a metal bowl on Jenna's balcony, under the quiet watch of a full moon, I set fire to my memories. The flames flickered, danced, devoured. I watched years of my life turn to ash, and for the first time in days, I felt something close to clarity. Pain doesn't always come with answers. But sometimes it comes with clean slates. And that night, I began to build mine. After the fire, something shifted inside me. I wouldn't call it peace, not yet. But it was a beginning. The act of destroying those relics, our photos, our love notes, the dried rose petals from our first anniversary, it felt like reclaiming power, one flame at a time. For so long I had let those memories haunt me, define me. Now I was forcing them out, letting them crumble into ash like they deserved. But grief is cruel. It doesn't follow logic or respect timelines. It came in waves. Some days I felt strong, even defiant, ready to start fresh, to rise from the wreckage like some version of a phoenix. Other days I'd find myself curled on Jenna's couch, clutching the stupid coffee mug Tyler had given me on our second Christmas together. The one that said, "You're my person." I kept wondering, was I ever really his? Or was I just a placeholder? A chapter in a story where someone else would become the main character? I returned to the apartment once. Just once. I needed to pick up a few more things: clothes, books, my grandmother's jewelry. Jenna offered to go with me, but I said no. This was something I had to do alone. When I stepped inside, the smell hit me first. Familiar. So painfully familiar. His cologne still hung in the air, mingled with the lavender candle I used to light every evening. For a moment I froze, keys still in hand, heart pounding against my ribcage like it wanted out. Everything was exactly where I'd left it. My shoes by the door. Our photo still on the hallway table. The throw blanket on the couch, folded just the way I always did it. It felt like stepping into a parallel universe. One where nothing had gone wrong. One where I still believed in him. I moved quickly, avoiding the bedroom. I couldn't face that bed. Not yet. Not knowing it had probably been shared with her. Not knowing what kind of lies he whispered there when he wasn't with me. I packed my things in silence, barely breathing. But then, as I reached for a box on the bookshelf, I saw it, an envelope. My name written in his handwriting. Emily. Just that. No message. No explanation. I knew I shouldn't open it. I should have just thrown it in the trash with everything else. But I didn't. I took it with me, back to Jenna's, and stared at it for hours before finally tearing it open. Inside was a letter. 3 pages. Handwritten. He started by saying he didn't expect forgiveness. Good. Because I wasn't offering it. He claimed he never stopped loving me. That it wasn't about Rachel or anyone else. That he was broken, confused, scared of settling down. That I was too good for him and he sabotaged it because deep down he didn't believe he deserved me. It was a mix of guilt and flattery, excuses wrapped in regret. And buried within it, a confession he'd cheated before. Not just with Rachel. Before her. Before the proposal. A couple of times, he said. Nothing serious, just moments of weakness. He wrote like he was bleeding honesty, but all I saw was a man trying to make himself the victim of his own mess. I didn't cry reading it. I didn't scream. I felt cold. Empty. Like I'd finally reached the bottom of the truth and there was no further to fall. I folded the letter, put it back in the envelope, and placed it in the freezer. Jenna laughed when I told her. The freezer, she asked, raising an eyebrow. If I ever need to remind myself why I left, I said I want it preserved. Like evidence. We both laughed, but the sadness in her eyes told me she understood. This wasn't just about a broken heart anymore. It was about rediscovering who I was without him. In the weeks that followed, I learned something I never expected: grief and empowerment can coexist. I wasn't healed. Not even close. But each day, I felt a tiny sliver of strength return. I got up earlier. Took longer walks. Drank coffee without crying. I even started journaling, not about him, but about me. The woman I had been before him. The girl who used to dream with both feet on the ground. The one who believed she deserved more than crumbs disguised as love. But the world doesn't stop to let you grieve. Bills still come. Work still calls. People still expect smiles. I went back to the office after 2 weeks. Everyone pretended not to know, but their eyes told the truth. The sympathetic glances, the hesitant questions, "Are you okay?" As if there's a right way to answer that when your life's been derailed. I lied, of course. Said I was fine. Said I needed the distraction. But the truth was, I just couldn't sit in Jenna's apartment another day, surrounded by the echo of what never was. One afternoon, during lunch, I found myself walking by the bridal shop where I'd bought my dress. I don't know why I went. Maybe I wanted closure. Maybe I was testing myself. The window was dressed with a new gown, delicate lace, and a dramatic train. I used to dream about dresses like that. Now it just looked like armor for another woman about to step into the battlefield of forever with someone she hoped would never lie to her. I almost walked away. But then I stepped inside. The woman at the counter recognized me. Her smile faltered. "Emily, we were so sorry to hear." "It's okay," I interrupted gently. "I'm just here for one thing." She nodded, understanding without me having to explain. She led me to the back, to the room where my dress still hung, untouched, pristine, haunting. I stared at it for a long time. So much fabric. So much fantasy. I remembered the day I first tried it on. The tears. The champagne. The way I twirled, thinking I'd found the dress I'd become a wife in. But that woman, twirling, glowing, naive, she was gone. "I'd like to donate it," I said quietly. "To someone who needs it. Someone who still believes." Her eyes welled up. "Are you sure?" I nodded. She deserves better than a closet full of broken promises. Signing the release form felt oddly cathartic. Like I was not just giving away a dress, but shedding a layer of pain. Letting go of the version of me that clung to what-ifs and maybe he'll change. That dress would get a second life. And maybe so would I. That evening, Jenna and I drank wine on the balcony. The summer air was warm and forgiving. She raised her glass to me and said, "To doing the hardest thing, walking away from someone you thought you'd never leave." I clinked my glass against hers. "And to never doubting your worth again." We sat in silence for a while, watching the city breathe below us. And in that silence I felt it, something small, something hopeful. Not happiness. Not yet. But the quiet promise that it was possible. Healing isn't linear. I learned that the hard way. Just when I thought I was standing on steady ground, a memory would hit me out of nowhere, his laugh echoing in a commercial, his favorite song playing in a cafe, a stranger wearing his cologne, and suddenly I was back there, in the eye of the storm, heart racing. Eyes stinging. Grief has a funny way of folding itself into the corners of your life, lying in wait like a shadow that stretches longer in the late afternoon light. But still, I moved forward. Slowly. Unevenly. I deleted the wedding Pinterest board. I blocked his number. I unsubscribed from the newsletters of venues and florists and honeymoon travel deals. I stopped flinching every time someone said the word engaged. And eventually, I even smiled when I saw couples holding hands on the street. Not because I believed in love again, at least not fully, but because I realized their joy didn't threaten mine. Their happiness wasn't a mirror reflecting my failure. It was just theirs. And I didn't have to wear it like a wound. One Sunday, Jenna dragged me to a yoga class. I had never done yoga. I didn't even own leggings. But I went, mostly because I had run out of excuses not to. The instructor was calm and grounded, the kind of woman who seemed to radiate inner peace without even trying. At the end of the session, during Savasana, she said something I'll never forget: "Let go of the stories that no longer serve you." It hit me like a lightning bolt. I had been carrying the story of us like a burden, retelling it to myself in 100 variations. The story where he was confused, where I should have seen it coming, where maybe I wasn't enough, where it was somehow my fault that he strayed. But none of those stories served me. They only kept me tied to a version of myself that existed solely in relation to him. And I was done with that. That night, I wrote a new story. It didn't start with a man. It didn't end with heartbreak. It started with me standing in the ruins, barefoot, bleeding, but still upright. It was a story about survival. About rediscovery. About learning to sleep alone and wake up without shame. About drinking coffee slowly in the morning, not because I had to rush out the door to meet someone else's needs, but because I enjoyed the quiet. About choosing myself again and again, even when it hurt. Tyler reached out again. One last time. He sent a message through a mutual friend asking if we could talk. He wanted closure. He wanted forgiveness. Maybe even a chance to explain himself in person. I thought about it. I did. Because part of me still wanted to look him in the eyes and ask why. Why betray someone who would have moved mountains for you? Why lie when all I ever asked for was honesty? But then I realized I didn't need his answers. I didn't need to excavate his reasons or validate his remorse. Closure wasn't something he could give me. I already had it. I had it the moment I stopped waiting for him to make sense. The moment I accepted that some people don't change. That some apologies come too late. That the truth doesn't always come gift-wrapped in resolution. I declined the meeting. And for the first time, it didn't feel like weakness. It felt like freedom. Time did what it always does, it moved forward, indifferent to heartbreak. The calendar kept flipping. Summer slipped into fall. The leaves changed, and so did I. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But quietly. Gradually. I started laughing more. Sleeping through the night. Answering calls from friends without faking my tone. I went on walks alone and didn't feel lonely. I started cooking again, real meals, not just microwave sadness. I even bought new bedsheets. Clean, crisp, white. A symbol, maybe, of something unstained. And then, one evening, it happened. I ran into him. It wasn't planned. It wasn't cinematic. It was the produce aisle of a grocery store. I was reaching for apples. He was turning the corner. Our eyes met, and for a second, time froze, not in the romantic, movie magic way, but in the cold, stunned silence of two people who used to share a life and now shared nothing but awkward air. He looked older. Tired. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe just time catching up with him. He smiled tight, unsure. "Emily," he said, like a question. "Tyler," I replied, steady, not angry, just factual. There was a beat of silence. I didn't fill it. "You look good," he said. I nodded. "Thanks." Another pause. He fidgeted. I'm really sorry. For everything." "I know," I said. "I got your letter." He seemed to want more. Maybe forgiveness. Maybe a hug. Maybe the ghost of what we once were to rise and give him comfort. But I didn't give him that. Instead, I smiled, a real one. Not bitter. Not cruel. Just calm. "I hope you're working on yourself." "I really do." He blinked, surprised. "I am. I'm trying." "Good," I said. "Take care." And just like that, I walked away. Apples in hand. No tears. No shaking. No backward glance. I didn't need anything from him anymore. Not his apology. Not his explanation. Not even his regret. Because I had already chosen my healing over his redemption. That night, I told Jenna, and she raised her wine glass again. "To facing your past without flinching." I laughed. "To facing my ex without punching him." We both cracked up, and it felt so good. The laughter didn't come with a side of sorrow anymore. It was clean, whole, honest. And as I looked around at my life, the quiet peace, the supportive friendships, the sense of self returning, I realized something that caught me off guard. I was proud of myself. Not for surviving the betrayal, but for not letting it define me. Months passed. The shadows of what had been no longer loomed so large. The pain had dulled, not vanished, but softened into something manageable, like an old scar that only aches in certain weather. And in that quiet space, beyond rage, beyond tears, I found something I never expected. Gratitude. Not for the betrayal. Never for the betrayal. But for what it forced me to confront. For the truth it exposed. For the way it stripped my life bare and showed me what was rotten underneath the polish. Tyler didn't just cheat on me, he showed me who he really was. And in doing that, he set me free. Free from the illusion. Free from the compromise I kept calling love. Free from a future that would have broken me slowly, silently. I began doing things just for me. I took a solo trip upstate. Stayed in a cabin, read 5 books, hiked trails without checking my phone. I started a pottery class on Thursdays where I was terrible but happy. I opened a small online store for hand-poured candles with ridiculous names like Red Flag Red and Closure is a Lie. People loved them. I even began dating again, carefully, quietly, with no expectations beyond honesty and decency. And that in itself was a revolution. One afternoon, sitting at a cafe with my journal, I wrote down a sentence that felt like a revelation. "You don't get to control what breaks you, but you get to choose what you build with the pieces." I stared at those words, let them soak into my skin. That had become my truth, my compass. I had been shattered, but I wasn't ruined. I had been lied to, but I hadn't lost myself. Not forever. Not permanently. People often ask me now, "Do you think he ever truly loved you?" And I always pause, because the answer is complicated. Maybe he did, in his own broken way, in a way that couldn't last, in a way that depended on me shrinking to make him feel big, on me trusting while he lied, on me holding our future while he sabotaged it behind my back. But I don't need that kind of love anymore. I want love that holds itself accountable. Love that shows up. Love that's rooted in truth, even when it's hard. And most importantly, I want the kind of love I now know how to give to myself. So no, Tyler didn't destroy me. He revealed me, and that version of me. The one that rose from the ashes, who laughs louder now, who doesn't apologize for demanding more. That version was worth every tear I shed to find her. This isn't a story about a woman scorned. It's a story about a woman saved. By herself.